Good evening, everyone, and welcome to El Tol Cockerel. As you can see, I have got a superb guest in Deji. How are you, Deji?
Jose, no, I am good, mate. I am so good, and thank you so much for the invitation. I've been bottling up all the kind of emotion from the weekend's game, but the reason why I feel so good is because I feel like there's been a vindication in the location, in the sense of I gave Postecoglou 3 games. I know we're going to get into it, but look, I feel good. It's clicked, and just singing in my poor voice. The only way is up, baby. It's you and me now. Big up.
So I think, right, because I haven't spoken to you about this, but I think I had you on here 3 weeks ago to today. It was a Wednesday show that we did when we did the NLD Assemble, and you were
Yeah,
Thanos
yeah.
preaching to everybody. And I think it was 3 weeks ago today, to be honest. Today's Wednesday, and I'm sure it was 3 weeks ago today. And you had a lot to say that night, right? And obviously, we know the North London Derby game was on the Sunday. It's played. It's in the history books now. We know the score. So the reason why I haven't prepared you for tonight, but the reason why I wanted you to come on or try and get you on is I remember what you said that night, right? I remember everything that everybody in the panel has said, and you are one of the most positive Spurs fans there are out there. And you said a lot that night. Now, okay, we lost the North London Derby, but since then we've gone on an unbeaten run
Yeah.
since the North London Derby. So what I wanted to ask you is, and what it was, is where are we, Deji? What's happened since we last met?
Yeah.
Aside from North London, because we lost that game, so we'll park the bus there. But then moving on from the North London game, it was to ask you and assess what we've done and where we've gone from there. But before you answer that, can I just say hello to some people in the chat? Because I
Yeah. Big
always
up,
do.
big up, big up,
Um,
everyone.
you got Adrian's here, says hi to all in the chat, but then also says hi to Deji.
Yes, Adrian.
Um,
See you.
Destiny 5 is big up Jose, Deji, and my club.
Yes. My club.
We got you down there, mate. My club. You've got Johnny Bethnal Green says evening geezers, and you got Ash P. Ash P says big up Deji and Jose. I hope you're well, Ash. You got Adrian again says the quadruple is on. Daniel Coys is here saying big up. You've got Colin Blackshaw says good evening, Jose and Deji. Good evening to you, Colin. Ryan G is here. Ryan G saying, "Good evening, Jose and Deji. Deji, no mentioning how dusty walls are and that we're vegan in this stream, please, mate." And then you've got and you've got Robbie from Lily White Lane, and it's big up Jose, Deji, and all in the chat, right? And you've got at the moment that's the people that we've caught up in the chat. So as I was saying, Deji, where are we, mate? What's happened? Are we for changing? Tell me what your thoughts are on what's happened since
Yes.
after the North London Derby, mate.
Yeah, no, Jose, thank you. And it's again pleasure to be with you on this show, and thank you for giving me this space to talk. The thing is, a lot of people, if you listen to the noise, a lot of people can make you doubt yourself, but a lot of people can make you doubt what you see with your eyes. At some moments, you can think you're Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles, the way some people talk about our club. The truth of the matter is, we were playing good football. We mentioned it before 3 weeks ago, as you mentioned. I said, look, we've been playing well. The Newcastle game, we had played well. We didn't have a striker. We didn't finish off our dinner. Yeah. So we had the North London derby, and to be fair, I mean, Arsenal fans, if they're honest with themselves, we played Arsenal off the park. We played Newcastle off the park, but we didn't score. That was the issue. Arsenal fans will lie to you and say it was the tactics, but the truth of the matter is your tactics have to be 100% spot on. Any error in that game, and Arsenal walk out with a draw or a defeat against our club. And it was lapses in concentration. That's what happened. Romero had 3 lapses in concentration, and that cost us points. But we were playing well. What's happened is also after the Arsenal games, there were some serious questions that needed to be asked. And sometimes I'm a big believer in I don't believe in pussyfooting around. Jose, if I wrong you, I would rather you come straight and tell me on stream or via WhatsApp, or you give me a call and say, Dej, do you know what? I was offended by what you said the other day, rather than you having me on streams, but deep down you're harboring some sort of negative energy towards me. That don't make no sense. And so for me, I will stand firm and say I was one of the people who called out Brennan Johnson. I said, as a starter, he doesn't start well for our club. But Brennan Johnson needed also to take responsibility. You weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing at the time. He switched off his Instagram, yeah, and he got serious. That's what's happened. Rule number one. Solanke's now come back into the team. What a great striker. Hold up play. Just needed to just settle down. People were judging Solanke after one game. He then got injured. Can you imagine this? The brother hasn't even played any football and we're judging him. He's now started to settle and it's starting to work. And dare I say it, Romero has decided he's not going to switch off and have a lapse in concentration. And so what you've been seeing is domination in the location with penetration. But I feel like, and I think I said it about a week ago, the Coventry game was the game changer for us because that game was dusty. I mean, it was dustier than Tutankhamun. But the way that the players got the result that night, I said, you know what? Weirdly, this could be, it wasn't great, but this could be the tonic that starts the ball rolling for our club. And literally, I think it has. And I think, Jose, I think I mentioned to you that I gave Postecoglou 3 games. A lot of people said you're overreacting. I wasn't overreacting. What I was trying to do was to set a challenge. If Postecoglou, if Ange is really who we believe him to be, then the challenge is you've got to beat Cov, you've got to beat Brentford, and you've got to beat United, Manchester Piccadilly, because they're pretty.
It was Carabag before that, weren't it?
And Carabag as well. But
Carabag and then Man U.
But I was looking at, but to me, I didn't even give a damn about Carabag. I just wanted to make sure we beat Cov because there was something about, there was a lot of hoo-ha about last year going out first round in the Carabao last year. So fans weren't happy with that. So I wanted to do one better. I wanted us to beat Brentford. We knew that was a tricky game. And United game, we knew was going to be a tricky game. And he's come through it in flying colours. Now, whatever happens from this point on, I promised. I said, if Postecoglou gets us 3 wins, then I'm going to give him the time he needs. Not that I ever doubted him, but at the same time, when you lose to Arsenal and you lose to Newcastle the way that we did, questions needed to be asked. We had to ask those questions. But for me, in the Brentford game, Jose, it clicked. The way we were playing, the confidence, the creativity from our team, that's when I thought, yep, I think it's clicked for Spurs. And now you can see it. The Man United game, they went in with confidence. Timo Werner bloody started the game and you didn't, I don't want to say you didn't notice. Obviously we did. He missed 2 sitters or 3 sitters in the game. But it didn't affect the dynamics of the team too drastically. We were able to go there and win 3-0. So for me, it's clicked, it's working. The players are happy. He's found the right positions. And, they say, football is all about confidence. Brennan Johnson needed a bit of confidence. He needed to believe in himself. Solanke just needed to settle down. The midfield and our back 4. I've rated our back 4 as good as Arsenal's. The stats would never show it. But I'm not sure if Arsenal's back 4 played the same high line as us, whether it would be as impressive as it has been. And, and we're seeing the fruits of our labour. People say our squad doesn't look great. I'm like, it doesn't need to look great. Bergvall is great. Archie Gray is great. These players are good players. You just don't know them. That's the problem. So, mate, I think now we are going to see Postecoglou's true colours. He's told us, I had Spurs to finish top 3 this season. And I said, had we lost to United, that would have been out the door. Right now, having that win with the run of games we've got next, mate, it's very possible, you got me speaking French now, that we could be in the top 3, top 4 come the end of this 4-game cycle. So for me, buckle up, sit back and relax. Let's hope we don't get any injuries to our star players. And, I think the only way is up.
Right, I'm going to pick you on a few points there.
Yeah.
We got Toxic Twilight says Unai needs mad respect,
Yeah.
and then said it's not Brighton Munich. Leo says big up homies. I hope you're well, Leo, mate. Hanno from Chelsea says, what about Son? What happens to him? Well, we can answer that. I'll save that one for after. And Colin Blackshaw says Van der Ven is outstanding. Right, so I'm going to go back. Right, so we lost to Arsenal, and so we did a show pre-Arsenal. So I'm forgetting Arsenal for now, mate. I'm moving on. So because I haven't spoken to you since after the Arsenal game, and this is the first time. So Coventry, Deji, for me, right, and I've said this on my shows already. I've been supporting Tottenham for a long, long time, and I cannot remember the last time. It must have been a good 30, possibly plus years ago that I see Tottenham play as bad as what they did against Coventry.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we got away with one that night, and there's no hiding. We did get away from one that night, but the history books will show third round Carabao Cup, Coventry 1, Spurs 2. So by the skin of our teeth, we did get through that game and we got the victory. I said all along, and I said all along before the Coventry game and after the Coventry game, I don't care. We got through. We're in the hat for the next round of the fourth round, and I don't care who we get, even if it's Man City, as long as we get a home tie, because winning trophies, you got to have some luck along the way. And winning
100%.
trophies, you've got loads of variables. You're going to have your players have to be fit, the selection has to be right, the mentality has to be right. Home draws are a plus rather than being away all the time. Home draws are a plus. So for me, we've got through, we've got into the next round, and we've now been drawn against Man City. So I think that Coventry game, in my personal opinion, and I said this at the time on my shows, it was probably we've been playing well up until the Coventry game. The Coventry game we were poor, Dej, but that was probably the light bulb moment for a lot of the players, even the players that didn't play. Because the players that came on as substitutes that game, they affected the game. They affected our result in us getting them 2 goals and getting the victory. Especially Mr. Dejan Kulusevski, who I believe has been our player of the season in the 6 league games so far, in my opinion. That doesn't mean everyone has to share that.
Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah.
But then from that game, as I said, I think it was a wake-up call for the players and for the team and that. But since then, we've gone out and we've won 3 on the bounce after that. So we've won Coventry, but we've then gone out and won 3 on the bounce. And where you said that we've been playing football, which I totally agree. I think I said at the time that we did the show, Dej, that for me, I said, and I think you said it on some of your shows as well, I said that even losing against Newcastle and even when we lost against Arsenal, I felt that we were playing better football and we were better now than what we were same stage last season, and we were unbeaten for the first 4 or 5 games. We were unbeaten. We were unbeaten for 10, but we're only 7 games in now when we play this weekend. And so to me, I'd noticed the changes already, right? Which people won't address and won't say that the tactical tweaks have been done. They have been done. Have you seen the tactical tweaks?
Of course, I've seen the tactical tweets.
What are they? Tell me.
So tactical. Let's look at the tactical. The first one is that Kulusevski. Let's do the obvious. Is no longer a winger. He is now a number 8, playing alongside Maddison. That's got to be one of the biggest tactical tweaks that we've seen, and it's working. Yeah. The other tactical tweak is that Bissouma or whoever's playing that number 6. When Van der Ven and Porro are moving up, we then have like the kind of fake number 6 role dropping in between Van der Ven, and Romero. And by the way, because of that tweak, guess what it's done? Because Van der Ven knows that if I go on a run, I've got someone who's going to occupy my space. I've now got the freedom, if the space permits, you know, if I see a little gap, to just go down the line. Hence why you saw it at Everton. Hence why you saw it at United or at the weekend. Yeah, I mean, those are the two main ones. I think Madders is not really playing as a number 10 anymore. So it's 8 and 8, which again is another tactical piece of genius work there. And, you know, those are just some of the kind of obvious ones for me. I can't even think of any others at the moment. But those, that in itself shows adaptation in the location. Do you know what I mean, Jose? So for me, yeah, I mean, you're seeing it. No, there was something that was in my mind and it's just slipped my mind. But yeah, look, as we talk on, I will probably remember. But yeah, those are some of the obvious ones. But yeah, you tell me as well some of the ones you've seen.
For me, the two fullbacks, Dej, are going out and hugging the touchline, staying wide,
Yeah,
and not inverting. So therefore, you're stretching the pitch. And I've seen them do that now, where they just stretch the pitch. They go out, stay out wide. They're not inverting in. They stay out wide, stretching the pitch. The other one for me is Bentancur in the six. Bentancur in the six, because Bentancur is an 8, right, all
yeah,
day long for me.
yeah,
He can play the six because he's class, right,
yeah,
but he's an 8 all day long. And what I've noticed, what I've seen Bentancur, I said all along, I've said this for 2 years now. If all players are fit and at their peak and at their level, the best midfielder at the club's Bentancur for me,
yeah, 100%.
hands down. There's no one that can touch Bentancur at our club. Now he's obviously coming back from injuries and stuff like that, but the Bentancur that I've seen play the six, he wins the ball and he straight away distributes the ball, passes it to someone straight away. So we're in transition straight away. We're breaking lines straight away because he's giving the ball out straight away. The old under the other manager under Conte, he would break up play, but then he'd carry the ball like an 8 does, and he'd be the first person on the press and everything. But he's had to change his role around, and he's played the six. So when everyone says we need a six, we ain't got a defensive cover, I've noticed he's plonked in between the two centre halves, and he wins the ball across the
Yeah,
midfield. He wins the ball, but he releases it straight away.
yeah,
Then you've got the two boys that are now pulling out wide to stretch the space. And what is Dom Solanke like?
mate. Dom Solanke, what a striker. You know, for me, I'm so happy for Dom Solanke, but I'm so happy for us that we did sensible. You know, one of our Achilles heel has always been the striker position. Remember, we didn't buy Kane. Kane came through our academy, and if not for Tim Sherwood, we might never have seen Kane because he was part of the academy. He saw some of the talent there. I think if Tim Sherwood wasn't in charge for that moment in time, maybe there's no Harry Kane. That's how crazy some of these managers are. But Solanke, you know, just his pressing. Look, Adrian said in the chat, his pressing, his ace, his work rate, his strength, ability to hold the ball. There was a moment in the Brentford game. You know, he took the ball down, swivel, set Son off. That's what he just brings confidence. He's a poacher in the box. He's an aerial presence. I mean, he's everything we wanted Richarlison to be, really and truly. That's what we thought we were getting in Richarlison. Solanke is that. And because he's such a presence, he occupies both centre-backs. So it allows Madders, because of that pressing, Madders, you know, we were talking about there's no space. Well, he's giving them space because he's doing so much work. Madders and Cooley now are free to run and have havoc. You know what I mean? So, look, Solanke is a fantastic player. I said I expect, if he got 15 plus Premier League goals this season, he's great value for money. He's already got 2. Do you know what I mean? So far and counting. And I think that's what we need. If he's scoring, you know, 15 plus, and Brennan Johnson, if he can get 15 plus, yeah, then we're laughing. Do you know what I mean? But Solanke for me is up there. I think, you know, we might even have got a steal. You know, you're looking at Duran at Aston Villa banging in goals. You
He's a
know,
good player though, Duran. Duran's a good
he is
player.
a quality
He's a
player.
good player.
But I think Solanke edges Watkins, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? And I think
Yeah,
we're going to see more of it.
if Villa get rid of Watkins, they've got Duran there, mate. And
Yeah.
Duran, it won't be long. Duran keeps doing what he's doing. It won't be long before he starts in front of Watkins if Watkins remains off form.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
100%.
right, I just catching up with the chat again. You've got Toxic Dwala saying Highline versus Highline this week.
Yep.
And then you've got Dave Williams is here saying, wowzers, Jose and Deji, bring it on. Destiny 5 says the main tweak is having a proper striker and Kulu, yes. Just reminding people, you know the rules about hitting that like button. Show the love for the stream and always hit the like button. Milton Abrega saying, hope you're well, Jose. I am, Milton. I hope you are well. You've alluded to, Adrian's also said that Solanke's pressing is ace. Yeah. Destiny 5 agrees. Destiny 5 saying Solanke sets the tone, starts all the running, and the rest follow.
He's timeless.
And Adrian says Solanke presses between the centre back and full back, restricting passing options. Yeah. And Destiny 5 is saying Villa tried so hard to shift you around. Now he's setting standards. So I've said that I believe Solanke will get 15 goals by Christmas.
You reckon? If he gets 15 goals by Christmas, mate, I'll buy it.
Hold on. This is all comps, yeah? 15 by Christmas.
Yeah. Okay, 15, yeah. I mean, he's on 3 now. Yeah, of course. It all comes. He should bag a couple tomorrow.
I'll call this one if he was on 0. I said, I reckon. Someone said, do you reckon he'll get 15 goals this year? But they didn't stipulate. They said, do you reckon he'll get 15 goals this season? And they didn't. There was no stipulation. That's exactly how I'm telling you is how I heard it. And I turned around and said, I'll go one further than that. I reckon he gets 15 in all comps. So I made sure that I put that in there in all comps by Christmas. And I reckon he will. I reckon he'll get it all done by Christmas. So so you got that.
The only thing I would say is that I do think if and not to put a downer on things, everything can be perfect. I do sometimes question the final decision making, footballing IQ. There's a couple of times where players, Kulusevski, Madders, could just feed him. And the one thing I would say in all of the games, it does feel like Solanke is working off scraps. I haven't really seen anyone put it on the plate for Solanke just for him to have a nice little shot. I don't think I've actually seen him have a proper crack of the ball on goal. I don't know if you have so far. He's got 2, but it's a bit scrappy. And what even in the United game, I don't think he had a clear-cut shot. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to see the players. Madders was giving Richarlison balls on a plate last season, and the guy couldn't finish off the dinner. I want to see the same creation, the same opportunities. It almost feels like Solanke is putting in all the hard work and carving it out for himself, which is a great sign because it means when they do pull it on the plate, even more the easier, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's my only concern. He's had to make his own goals, whereas I do want him to almost work a little bit less so that we can keep him. I don't want him getting injured. I don't want him getting tired. And, the quality is there, but the final ball in the final third just hasn't been great. I know we're having lots of shots, but when I look at the shots, how often are we forcing the keepers to make a save? Not very often. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. It's a weird one because we're up there, but we're not really there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I haven't seen the press conference, did you? I know you and I have both been working today, and I haven't seen the press conferences yet. I might have to have a look at it after we finish the show. But as far as I'm being made aware, the post-match for tomorrow's night's match was, they normally put a player out and as the manager. Yeah. It was Madders and Ange. So that tells us that Madders will be playing tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So where Madders didn't come on at all against Karabag, I think Kulu came off the bench, but against Karabag, Madders didn't. We've now got Madders starting tomorrow, so that means that at least we're going strong with one midfielder. One of our 3 centre midfielders will be playing tomorrow night. Now, I know it's Ferencvaros away from home tomorrow, right? What kind of team do you think he's going to pick? And also, I'm really happy that that Lancashire is off the treatment table now, because for me, Solanke, although he hasn't had a pre-season with us, he's had kind of a mixed pre-season, Solanke, because he had a pre-season with Bournemouth and he'd had one with Bournemouth until the moment that we put a bid in for him on the Thursday, and then he stopped training with him on the Thursday. We signed him on a Saturday. And then obviously up until the following week, all the paperwork got signed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Solanke wouldn't have trained with Villa, and he wouldn't have trained with Tottenham. So he's
Yeah.
probably missed a week
Yeah.
of it. So now that he's back from injury and that, he's playing catch up as well.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a full pre-season. But for me, with knowing the fact that we haven't got Richarlison and possibly never again have Richarlison,
Yeah.
possibly. If it's true about his mental health issues and stuff like that, it could
Well,
well
I
be that he
hope
doesn't
that's
ever
not the
come
case.
again.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then we do need to have rotation for Solanke. So I'm really happy that Lancashire has come off the treatment table now and was a substitute at the weekend.
Yeah.
But it being a substitute is one thing, playing minutes is another.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to. So I think Solanke starts tomorrow night, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we are in a position tomorrow night where we can rotate Solanke with Lancashire just to give
Yeah.
Solanke a bit of a breather.
Yeah. No, 100%. One of the things that we got to be doing is we got to be managing our players, all of our players. I have to say though, I do like what Postecoglou has done. I've never ever liked where we have to ostracize players. Do you know what I mean? And what he's done is he's made sure that the pretty much the whole squad is involved. Werner's getting game time. Ben Davis, Bergvall, it was unfortunate last week. He really wants to spread it out. And he actually did say I don't know if it was the pre-press conference for the United game or the post, he actually talked about the need for having Richarlison back. Because he talked about something I've been banging on about, which is that Richarlison can play on the left-hand side. For me, my preferred option would be, if Son is not there, Richarlison. Definitely ahead of Odegaard, maybe. Definitely ahead of Werner. Because actually, that's where Richarlison played his best football. Left-hand side, left attack at Everton, left attack at Watford. I think tomorrow, Madders talked about I watched a bit of Madders' kind of interview when he was
Oh, you've
out.
seen it, have you?
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
I've not seen it.
not the press conference, but Tottenham TV, kind of interviewed him in the stadium, and he talked about the fact that they prefer, and I agree, it's better. This is the opportunity. The Europa League gives us the opportunity to play the fringe players. Yeah, because players need minutes. You can't expect the player to be cold and then come into the Premier. It's not going to happen. So you use the Europa League to get Mikey Moore up. You use it for the Werners to maybe get his confidence back. Pape Sarr, the Bergvalls, the Archie Grays. This is their game. So I see Udogie didn't travel. We know that. Son didn't travel either. So that means I want to see Mikey Moore start. Why not? Or if not, he comes on. Maybe Timo Werner gets another start. Brennan Johnson probably starts. Romero won't start this game. It will be Dragus. No, well, Dragison's been sent off, so no. So Romero has to start. So Romero has to start with Ben Davis, maybe. But Ben Davis could put, and then it will. There's no Jed Spence.
Who plays left back?
Bloody hell, there's no Jed Spence. What is this disaster?
I mean, I don't know. Someone said that Reguilon's travelled.
Oh yes, Reguilon. Yeah, Reguilon's travelled. Yeah.
I didn't think Reguilon was part of the squad though, Dej.
Do you know?
I thought we had to go in with 23. We had to go in too light, didn't we? Yeah, and I thought Reguilon was one of the ones that weren't selected.
He slightly put him in ahead of Jed Spence, and that's why everyone kicked off.
So Reguilon is available, is he?
Yeah, so Reguilon's available.
Okay.
And to be fair, Reguilon ain't that bad. It's just that he can't play this system, but he's not that bad. Actually, he could do a job. Do you know what I mean? For this sort of game, Reguilon could do a job on the left end. So I would prefer Reguilon at left back than I would Ben Davis, just simply because he's got the legs for it. Then you have Ben Davis playing the left centre back role. You have Romero, you have Porro, or you have Archie Gray, to be honest. And then a midfield of Pape Sarr, Madders and Bergvall. You've got Brennan Johnson, you've got Timo Werner, and you've got Solanke. You're playing Solanke because strikers, the more they score, the more confident. And like I said to you, the one thing that's been missing is nobody's given Solanke a full-on opportunity to shoot the ball in the back of the net. Hopefully that comes. And then once that comes, then they take that form with them to the weekend where we really need it to click. Do you know what I mean? So I think he mixes it up. I think that's what the Europa League is for. That's why we want it to be. We're going to use it to get the other players fit and ready in case there are any injuries. My biggest worry was is Van der Ven. I think in the Carabao game, he looked like he was limping at one stage. You know what I mean? So you really want to manage his hammers. You lose Van der Ven, mate. You lose the heart of our defence.
Yeah. Right. Colin Blackshaw says, strange Villa having a striker called Duran, as Durant are from the area. The Duran that they've got is spelt with a H. And Dhuran. So, Adrian says, Solanke's goal tally depends on how many games he plays. Niall Kane, the man from Montrose, says, big up, lads. Nick Fadley's come in saying, Villa. Ryan has put Deji's link in the chat, so people that
Big
haven't
up,
subbed over to Deji, go over to Deji. I've got
big up.
Deji's digits and details in the um in the in the description and in the title. So
Big up. Thank you.
Deji can be found everywhere.
Thank you.
And as he's saying, Rosie says, sub to the Arsenal Slayer, Deji Van Helsing. Uh, Adrian says, presser, Son and a doggy didn't travel. Destiny says, Ange said Reguilon travelled for training purposes only because he's
Really?
not part of the squad. I didn't think he was part of the squad.
Oh wow.
He wasn't
What's
in the
the
23.
That don't make no sense.
He
Why
wasn't
would
in the.
you take someone to train if he's not
He,
going to play?
I don't know. He wasn't in the 23, but it could be that something's up with a doggy. I don't know because the doggy didn't travel, did he?
Yeah, he didn't.
Adrian says that Alfie Dorrington is a left centre back, travelled with the squad, and so did the right back Dante Casanova, both travelled with the squad. Angus is here, says evening, but then he says evening, Jose, and shake your bum, man, Deji.
Big up, big up.
And Milton is saying, what's wrong with Sonny? When is he back? Don't know, Milton. Don't know what's wrong with Sonny at the moment. We know that he's got an injury. They haven't said much more than that. I haven't looked at the Premier League injury tables either, so I'm not too sure. But I'm sure that we will find out on Friday. If nothing was said in the presser today,
Yeah, I mean,
we'll find out Friday.
what Postecoglou has said though in a recent press conference is that he's already overused Son. This season he had planned to manage Son. Do you know what I mean? Because of his age, he's 32, about to be 33. He's had to play Son in more games than he was expecting. You know, things like did Son play in the Carabao game? I think, did he? I can't even remember. I think he did. But you know, like there's certain matches like the Carabao, he shouldn't be playing that game. There were a few other games where he wanted them to come off, and that's when he mentioned the Richarlison, saying like, had Richarlison been fit, you know, that's another option. We lost Odebear as well, which means that you're forced to play in Son. So I think really what he's done is he's like, you know what, they're resting him. They talked about fatigue. He had fatigue issues before. Fatigue is really a thing. There's nothing you can do. Son is not himself at the moment. We can all see that. You know, he's not even having a shot on goal. He's not even putting in a tackle. He's not even trying to do a darting run. So you know there's issues. I think Son needs a break. And what the players need to do is allow him to have a break, the minimal games. I think if we can just, you know, use Son for Premier League games and have like the squad fill in for the Carabao Cup and the European nights, that's how Postecoglou would like to manage Son this season, but he hasn't been able to do so far.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering whether tomorrow we might even see Mikey Moore start. You know, I really do think we might even see.
I think he does. I would rather see Mikey Moore start than Timo Werner. I'm not going to lie. I just don't see Timo Werner.
I can see Werner starting and Mikey Moore and Johnson being given a rest.
Yeah,
off the bench.
I think so. Why not? Timo Werner can play on the right. Put Mikey Moore out on the left. If we're really, really struggling, if we're struggling, we do a Coventry. Yeah, we bring on Kulusevski, we bring on the big dogs, and we
empty the bench. Yeah, empty the bench.
Yeah. I don't mind winning 1-0. I don't need to thrash this team, to be honest with you. Again, for me, my primary concern is Archie getting minutes, is Bergvall getting minutes and confidence up. That's what you want, because there's going to be a time where we're going to need Bergvall. And before Bergvall gets thrust into our Premier League squad to start for Spurs, we need him to be cooking in Europe. When he's threading in balls and we're scoring goals in Europe and he's getting goals in Europe, then you know he's ready for the Prem. But I wouldn't just throw him in there. No way.
I'm just looking to Ferencváros now. So they played in the Champions League qualifying and beat the New Saints from Wales 5-0 at home, and then they beat the New Saints away 2-1. So they won 7-1 on aggregate.
Yeah.
They've won their league game against Keskamet 1-0. They then lost 2-0 away to Midtjylland of Norway. And then they drew 1-1 at home against Midtjylland from Norway, and then went out of the competition and had someone sent off in that game. So 3-1 against Midtjylland. But in their domestic league, it looks like they've won all their games. Yeah, 0-2. They beat Upsjes who is one of the teams that used to be really good from Hungary, along with Ferencváros back in the 70s. They beat them 1-0. So they've drawn 0-0 with Borac. In a play, oh no, so it's a Europa playoff. They drew 0-0 with Borac at home, but then proceeded to beat them 3-2 away on penalties after a 1-1 draw. That's what qualified them for Europe. Then they've beaten another team that I couldn't even pronounce for the life of me, 2-1. Then they've beaten Balatofuerde as well. And then they've beaten Budafoki. Who are these teams? They've beaten MTK Budapest away from home. Lost to Anderlecht in the first Europa match day 2-1. And Anderlecht had a red card. And then they've beaten Puskás Akademia 3-0. Puskás Academy, Puskás Akademia. And now they play against us at home tomorrow night at 5:45. So, on paper, they've probably done a bit better than Qarabag did on paper, because Qarabag had won 5 and lost 1 in the league and were top.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they are in the table, this mob, but they don't look like they've lost a game.
Yeah,
so
they have must have gone. But I do think I do think personally, I think Qarabag might be even better than this team. Personally. They didn't have some, if they had their shooting boots on, they could have got a couple of goals against us. But I think, Qarabag is a team that, again, they normally play in the Champions League. You know what I mean? They don't do anything, but they've played, proper, big teams. So I would rate Qarabag. But that doesn't mean that we can go in and take our foot off the gas. But I do expect us to slap them up, to be honest with you. I expect a 3-0. Go there and give them a good beating. Yeah. The thing is, the gap in the Prem, and I've said this, and I know a lot of people think they're just delusional, you're wild. Villa just beat Bayern Munich 1-0. And so when I talk about the fact that I don't rate the European competitions, it's not because I'm being disrespectful, but the truth is the Premier League is so strong that you can get a Villa team beating Bayern Munich. Granted, it's a one night. Villa were up for it. They probably played their best football, but it still happened. Do you know what I mean? Villa is not expected to win the Prem, and they're beating the best team in Germany. So, you got to let that sink in. So we're playing, the best team in Hungary. Yeah, I mean, the gap's just too much from my perspective. We should be going there and lamping them, to be honest, at least 3-0. If we concede a goal, it would be terrible.
What, even with a changed side?
Yeah.
Who did he start in goal in, Tej?
Look, you know what? When are we going to see Austin? That's what I want to know.
Right.
I want to see Austin have a crack. When are we going to play him? I think it's a travesty to be at the club. He is an academy prospect. At what point? What does he have to do? It's like saving money for a rainy day. The rainy day comes and you still don't tap into those funds. Do you know what I mean? Like, what has this lad got to do? I think he's a better keeper than Fraser Forster. I know Forster's got experience, blah, 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 but give this lad a shout. If you don't give him a shout, how are they going to learn? So I'd like to see Austin, but it's likely to be, I think he's going to have to go with Vicario in goal, simply because we have no Udogie as cover. And we don't have Dragusin, who he would have wanted to start. So it means a Romero. He could also do the unthinkable, Jose, which he could do Archie Gray centre-back, which he did do in the summer. He could have a Ben Davis, Archie Gray centre-back pairing and Pedro Porro on the right. And I just don't know who would be left-hand side. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Because I don't want to go... We can't afford to go too strong for this game. we need to rest our legs for the game against Brighton. Someone's mentioned it's two high line teams. What the Van heck? They play a higher line than us. So, I want to see us manage the squad properly tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's interesting, Deji, because right, if you look at the last week's game, and I ain't got the lineup in front of me, right, but I know that Van der Ven started last week, right, and so did Udogie. I'm just saying, Udogie and Van der Ven started. So tomorrow, and that's because Romero was suspended, weren't he? But now that Dragason's out, right?
No, Udogie didn't start.
I
think he came on.
Didn't Spence come off? Didn't Spence come on for him at half time against Karabakh? Spence came on for him at half time, didn't he?
You might have a point, yeah.
Yeah, he did. So to me, yeah, he did, mate. Honestly, he came on for him half time. So with managing people's legs, you'd think Udogie hasn't travelled. Van der Ven doesn't get a risk from the start tomorrow because you're saving him for Brighton. So in effect, I reckon Romero will start tomorrow, and Porro, who didn't start in the first game because Gray started at right back, I think Porro may start tomorrow because you're managing people's minutes, aren't you? And they didn't. Them two players didn't play any minutes last week in Europe, so I've got a feeling they could start with Porro tomorrow and Romero, and then probably go like you said, maybe Archie Gray at centre back, and probably go with Ben Davis at left back.
Yeah.
That could.
So I've got the squad in front of me of who started against Karabakh. It was Vicario in goal, Gray on the right, Dragosin, Van der Ven, Davis.
Yeah.
Zuma, Sarr, Bergvall, Johnson, Solanke, Son. And then what happened was after Dragosin got sent off, they hooked off Bergvall and brought on Udogie.
And brought on Udogie, that's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So at the end of the day, with Udogie not travelling and Romero coming back from suspension, I think that Romero will start tomorrow, I think, and so will Porro. I think they'll both start, and Gray may then go into centre half, and Davis plays left back.
Yeah.
It could be. Adrian is saying Dorrington could play at left back. He could do, but Dorrington's another one. He's just come back from injury, the same as Lanksy. I've only just got him off the treatment table, and I find it hard pressed that they'll be thrown into minutes with the first team when they've had hardly next to no minutes, if any at all, with the under-21s.
Yeah.
So I find it. I mean, they might come off the bench and do something if we're winning, so we don't have to deploy all the big guns from the bench. But they may get a bit of time that some of the youngsters. So who starts in midfield tomorrow then? So Bentancur, Deji, we've not heard anything yet about his impending hearing. Right?
So we crack on for the time being until we hear something.
Yeah. So tomorrow, would you risk him? Would you risk Bentancur tomorrow? Are you saving Bentancur for Brighton?
I think you got to save Bentancur for Brighton. Although Basuma normally plays well against Brighton as well, but I think if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think Bentancur's working, so I think you got to go with Basuma. Basuma started last week. I think Pape Sarr will start, or
Sarr might get minutes. Bergvall will get minutes,
and Bergvall will get minutes, especially because he was hooked off. I actually think what he might do is Basuma, Sarr, Bergvall, and Madders will start the game. Yeah, so it could be.
Because Madders is in the conference press conference.
Madders will start. Yeah, so we'll have Solanke. He might start with Johnson, and then you could have, maybe I don't know. Pape Sarr. Someone even Madders playing that kind of fake, kind of left-hand side role. He's not really.
What about Biss? What about Biss, Madders, and Bergvall?
Yeah, that could work.
Biss, Madders, Bergvall. So Bergvall's doing the switch with Kulu.
Yeah.
Right, and then obviously Basuma takes Bentancur's place for the time being. But then up front, Solanke would start as a spearhead.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that Mikey Moore may start tomorrow. And then it's who do you shoe in after that? Will it be Werner and you rest Johnson?
I think he starts Werner tomorrow, I don't know. He loves this Werner. He loves him.
You don't think you'll start Werner and Moore and rest Johnson tomorrow?
Maybe.
I think he might rest Johnson.
I think Johnson needs a rest. I think Johnson needs a rest, and if we need him, he should come on. It would be nice to see, but I also think he wants to make sure we win. That's just too many changes for me. That means we've changed 9 players. Do you know what I mean? From the last game against United, that's a lot. That's big. So it's. I like the idea of that. That's what makes sense to me. But we saw how making 7 or 8 changes against Coventry, how disjointed we were. The last thing you want to do is to be so disjointed that we end up bloody losing the game. Do you know what I mean? So he's gonna have to balance it with at least 5 players that started against United. Timo Werner being one of them, Solanke being one of them, Romero being one, Vicario being the other one, and Madders being one. And then he'll fill the rest with the ones that didn't play. Ben Davies will start tomorrow for sure. That's his opportunity. He deserves that. He wants to honour that. He will probably start Bergvall because he hooked him off last week and he told him you're going to get plenty more opportunities. This is the opportunity for him. Aysar might even play the number 6 type role. He's crazy like that. You remember, he doesn't have a 6. Bentancur's not a 6. So, he might even put
He's not a 6, but, mate, the close proximity he doesn't play with a 6. Everyone says he doesn't play with a 6. When he had Celtic, he had McGregor. McGregor was the deepest lying midfielder that he had. McGregor, for all intents and purposes, plays that role for Scotland as well. He plays just in front of the 2 centre halves. Now, we all know that as a 6. Postecoglou says it's not a 6, it's 3/8. But he always has someone playing close to the centre halves. He had that in Scotland. And Bentancur, right? Forget what Postecoglou's saying now. Bentancur's been playing 6.
Yeah,
he's been sitting pivoting right in front of the centre half. So whether Postecoglou says we don't have a 6 or whatever, I go with 3/8 or whatever it is. He has played 6, simple as. Now you did say earlier, and I agree with you, Dej. Something you said earlier, right? Vicario has got if you're thinking of Fraser Forster, then go and have a shower. Freshen yourself up and have a rethink in that shower. Because with Brandon Austin, we saw him in pre-season, right? Tottenham decided to give him a 5-year contract, right, in the summer for 2. We've got 2 goalkeepers, him and Whiteman, 2 ghosts who we've never seen at the club. We've never seen their names are there. On the
who are they?
It's as if they haven't got a locker. Everyone else has got a locker. Their names are just on the locker, but there's all their gear still in the locker. They're never changing. So he played at the start in pre-season, and he looked really good. Shot stopping, decision making, everything looked really good for him. And then all of a sudden against Coventry, we bought Foster. Did Foster come back against Coventry?
He started that game. Okay.
He played against Coventry, and you're just like, oh my god. And then he didn't play against Karabag. Now, have you noticed with me? I've noticed a difference in Vicario. He came out in the summer, right, during the summer break, and he said, and he made an interview about it. He said, look, I know that I've got faults, and my faults are my area, coming out, commanding, blah 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 blah, and I'm going to go away and work on these. So sometimes when you've made errors, or when there's something you need to fix, the first thing you've got to do is admit that there's a problem. He's admitted there's a problem. He said he's going to go out and work on it. I have seen improvements. People say that they still have their heart in their mouth when he's in goal, but I've seen improvements from the boy. Against Man United, and Man United have got De Ligt. They've got apart from De Ligt, they've got rid of a few of them now. But I had De Ligt, Dallo, people like that go into the penalty box for corners and free kicks
as well.
Yeah, they've got these players that go in there. And they had Hoyland when he came on as well. Yet he commanded his box. People were saying they got heart in their mouth. He commanded his box against Brentford. People said, "Ooh." I saw him command his box against Brentford as well. I've seen the changes in him.
Yeah, he's definitely improved. I won't lie to you, Jose. I have my heart in my mouth. At some stages, I was calling him vicarious liability. I do think he's a little bit shaky. I'm not going to lie. Look, he's a brilliant shot stopper. and he's definitely better than the last years of Hugo Lloris. But you got to remember, Hugo was a crazy goalkeeper. He was a fantastic. I watched the Villa game tonight, and I watched Martinez make some absolutely unbelievable saves.
Did he?
There's a confidence that he brings that allows the back line, that allows Villa to play. You know, when you have that's what Alisson brought to Liverpool. I'm not sure that Vicario has brought that level of confidence to our back line. I'm not 100% sure. And I almost would go far as to say, I don't want to blame him for some of the lapses in concentration for Romero, but I do think that it's part of the reason why some of those mistakes have happened. If you're not fully behind your man, you know, if you're not fully behind the keeper. So, yes, he's good. I would give Vicario a 7 out of 10. But if you want to be challenging for the Prem, your goalkeeper needs to be a 9 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is not bad. But if you really want to be going for honours, you want a 9. And I looked at Martinez, I've looked at Raya this season. They don't look like they're going to concede. Like, it's like you get past the defence and then you've got to try and get past them, you know. And that aerial stuff, they've just got it. Whereas Vicario, you can see it's a work in progress. I just want him to be confident. You can see he's still not confident, but he's doing his best because he's a good lad and he wants to improve. That's the one thing about him. He's not so up himself. He knows his faults and he's ready to work on it, and he's ready to hold his hands up and be honest. But definitely, you know, we want more. You know, if we're going to get to where we believe we can, if we're going to finish in the top 4, then he has to have that sorted this season, 100%.
Yeah, and I agree with you totally, wholeheartedly, and I've said it many, many times before that, if your goalkeeper is commanding and is as strong as an ox and not flaky, then that breeds confidence in not only in your defenders, but in your team, because it's not only your defenders that go back to defend in front of the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
When people have got free kicks and corners, you've got other players that come back and defend. And what you want is you want to have the belief that, look, if the ball comes in behind me, I know that my keeper's going to come out and smash the ball. If he don't smash the ball, he's going to smash the player. He's going to do something to affect getting rid of that ball.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
As opposed to being stuck with concrete boots on your line where you can't lift your legs up, you can't move because you're stuck in concrete. And I think he's getting better at that. And I think it is breeding more confidence in the team to see that he's getting better. He's nowhere near where we need him to be on that shot stopping. Yeah, you're quite right. He's up there, right? But some of his other attributes are still down here, and they need to come up there as well. So I agree with you on that.
Sometimes you can win a game or get a point based on the goalkeeper. Leicester almost got a point against Arsenal on the weekend because the keeper had an absolutely crazy, outstanding game. And Vicario, but he was also outstanding in terms of commanding the box and shot stopping. If that was Vicario under that level of pressure for that amount of time, does he crumble? That's the question that I want to ask. I watched Bayern Munich tonight, relentless on that Aston Villa goal.
Yeah,
they didn't concede a goal, and that is the difference sometimes between, you know, finishing in the top 4 and finishing outside the top 4. It's those kind of games. It's not going to be every game, but also defensively, we've not conceded that many chances. That's the thing. So you got to big up the defense for the domination in the location. Yeah. Because, you know, it's very, you know, the United game, I did think second half, why are we allowing United to have more ball possession? But I don't remember Vicario having to make, I think he made like 1 save in the first half, made a couple saves.
Same as Brentford. Brentford had a 52% to our 48. So we've changed it up because the first 4 games of the league, we'd had 66, 66, 71 and 70, 68% overall. And then in the last 2 games, we've given it up. Not by loads. We haven't given it up by loads. It's been like 52s and 53, 48, 47 or whatever. So we haven't given it up by loads of ball, but we've won differently. We've played differently. Yeah. Well, sorry. We've played the way we want to play, but won differently, so to speak, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, again, another adaptation we didn't see last season. Last season, it was very much the same sort of football, and that's because he was trying to get our style of play at second nature in the DNA of the lads. Now you
Yeah.
can see he's making tweaks, and you can only make tweaks when you fully understand what you have. We now know that Kulusevski is not a winger. Who would have known that a year ago? That Kulusevski is better in centre midfield than he is on the wing. You know what I mean? But you don't know that unless you learn, because Conte had us believing that he was meant to be our Saka. Do you know what I mean? So he's learning and he continues to learn. The players continue to learn. Madders now has been pushed out. Yeah, look, look, we've got a good team. I think people don't give our team enough credit. All of the matrices, I was looking at it the other day. We are in the top 3: attacking, shots on goal, GA, completion, blah, blah, blah. Mate, we've conceded the same amount of goals as Arsenal. No one talks about it. I mean, bloody hell. We have
scored the same amount as Arsenal.
And scored the same amount of goals. I mean, come on. If you're going to shake your bum for the goodness, you've got to shake your bum for my club, because that is absolutely impressive. People just skim that as if it's nothing. It's 6 games in. That just shows, so across the piece, we have definitely improved. The one thing, and that's why you were spot on when you said that we're playing better this season than we did last season. If we're being brutally honest, we were lucky to get a draw against Brentford. We were lucky to win 1-0 away to Luton. Let's be real, but we just took it. Now, we are winning on merit. If we haven't played well, but we've played well and we just haven't had all the points. But I'd rather play well, knowing that the points will come, than to do what Arsenal's doing, really, which is they're not convincing whatsoever, but they are winning dirty. And sooner or later, they're gonna get found out. They almost got found out by Leicester at home. 2 goals. If we won 4-2 in the manner that Arsenal won 4-2, we'd be pissed off. Them guys are shaking their bum. No standards FC. That's what it is with them. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't be happy with that. You know what I mean? And they're telling me about the 1-0 away from home. So look, there's too much to be hope. What I hope for now is no injuries.
Yeah.
I can't lie to you, I'm scared. Odegaard, we've just had confirmation his hamstring is out for
longer.
6 weeks.
It's longer in a year. Yeah.
He's done. Yeah. We've got Son, we don't know when he's coming back. Let's hope that Udogi's one is minor and he's back this weekend. We're on the edge now, because really and truly, I thought we do have a bench, but you have a bench only when the squad is fit. Yeah. You know, the fact that you can bring on a Basuma, he doesn't start. The fact that you can bring on Pape Sarr, these are all good players, in my view. I think we can bring on better players than Arsenal can bring on better players. But when you start to have them start because we've got injuries, what we are left with is not enough to be able to compete and maintain what we need and to cope whilst we're waiting for these players to heal. So fingers crossed for us. Like, we can't afford for Solanke to get injured. We can't afford it. We really can't. We can't afford for Van de Ven to get injured like last season. No, we can't afford that. We can't even afford Madders to a certain extent. Do you know what I mean? So for us, it's about managing the boys. And if we can manage them, we can really do something. But if we don't manage them well, that's when the problems will start to happen.
Right, you got Smithy coming in saying, Senor Garcia and my broski Dej.
Yes, big up Lee Smith.
Paul G says, evening fellas, and big up Deji, big up Jose. I'm trying to see who else which is coming. Joseph Tyler's coming and said, can't understand why Spence ain't in the Europa League squad. It's because of the numbers, because we didn't have homegrown numbers. We had to drop down to 23 players, and therefore players had to be sacrificed. Matty Kushner's come in and says, big up. Phil Coys has come in, brilliant. He says, big up to Jose and Deji, my club. Come on, you Spurs. And then the very next comment is, domination in the law, Kieshan tomorrow. Come on,
oh yeah. Come on, man. We're lamping this team, 3-0, right? Lamping them. Domination in the law, Kieshan with penetration, 100%.
And you got Nigel Purecoy saying, much love to all. Quez Ali saying, come on, you Spurs. You're right, Ryan. He said he played centrally for Juventus. I was saying last season, Kulu's not a winger. Yeah, you're right. He played as a central, He played as a second striker on number 10 at Juve. But when he came to our club and Conte used him, Conte put him into a system that he needed at the time, and that's the way Conte played. And for the first 6 months, it paid off. Kulusevski paid off in that position. But we've got another manager that's coming. Well, in the second season, didn't pay off as well. But by then, you've had 6 months to read a team and learn about a team and stuff like that. And clubs did their homework, so to speak. But they've now got to do their homework again because the boy's back into the position that he loves.
Yeah.
Angus says Kulusevski's not on Saka's level. What are you on about? No, what Deji said is he came to us and Conte tried to make him our very own Saka. That's all
Exactly.
Deji said. So what you need to do, Angus, is listen to what the man said and
You know what I'm
don't make
saying?
up the words. Don't make up the words. Romanshu says hello. And Phil Coys says, Lancashire and Mikey Moore, is their time to shine if they get their chance chance injury dependent? Yes, and we've agreed with that up until now.
Yeah.
I've started a few questions. Hanno says, what about Son? What happens to him? Well, he's injured at the moment, Hanno, so nothing happens with him at all.
Yeah.
Agreed? Yeah. Anthony Herbert's come in, and he's probably left by now, but he says, big up, guys. Question, Deji, who's the most dusty team of all time?
So there's two dusty teams of all time, in my opinion. I think like the two top of my list is either West Ham or Manchester Piccadilly. Those are the two dustiest teams I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you. So it's probably West Ham. They're pretty dusty. I can't even lie. They might even edge United at this stage. I can't even do a combined 11 between the two teams. I wouldn't fill it up, to be honest with you, at all, because those teams are dusty. But
And then we've got Angus has asked the question, says, what's both your thoughts on the performance last night versus PSG? Angus, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I've recorded, on TNT, you've got the goals show on 417 for people who've got Sky on 417. I recorded that and I was doing so many other things, I didn't bother watching it. And today I've recorded it again and I ain't watched the football tonight either. I've been doing other things. But if it's Tottenham that are playing, I will always watch us. So tomorrow, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and I'll watch us play.
I mean,
with other teams, I try to get to watch as much as I can, but I can't comment. I didn't watch it. I can only go by what I've read this morning.
I can give a quick reply to Angus. I mean, it's a shameless question, Angus, because that was one of the dustiest PSG teams that we've ever seen in our life. No Mbappe, no Neymar, no Messi. That team is rubbish. We expected you to win, and you won. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, the quality of the European teams is dusty. The only team of substance is Bayern Munich, who got slapped up by Villa, Real Madrid, and potentially Barcelona. Who else is there that's decent? No. Every other team you should be expecting to slap them up. And just so you know, Angus, how serious I am. I actually said last season I expected Arsenal to beat Bayern Munich. I said there were only two teams I felt could stop Arsenal last season in champs. That was Man City and Real Madrid. So for me, I thought it was appalling and a failure from Arsenal not to get to the semi-final next season and last season in the Champions League against a dusty Bayern Munich team at the time. They're not the same team this season. They're a lot better this time round. But even if Arsenal were to play Bayern Munich, I expect them to win because the standard in Europe has dropped. So don't start shaking your bum violently.
Fair enough. There we go. That's your answer for you. Next one we've got is, to hide that one. That's the one I've just done. Is you got Adrian saying, panel, pick your back four from Davis, VDV, Dorrington, Romero, Porro, Gray, Casanova.
Well, Romero will play tomorrow. He has to play. Porro will have to play. Then you're going to I think you might even be able to do, he might go, I think you've got to go Ben Davis, centre-back, left centre-back. And you could maybe play Archie left back. That would be it. He's not going to go with Dorrington. He's not going to go with Casanova because they just haven't played. They've not had enough game. They've not had any game time. So VDV, I would want to rest because he looked like he was limping in the Carabao. He pulled through in the Man United game, but I don't want us to be risking VDV for this game when we're going to need him to be flying against Brighton on the weekend. So that would be my pick.
Right, and I've said already, Adrian. For me, my thoughts are that we'd start with what I said earlier. I think Porro will start. The thing I'd say to you about Casanova is Casanova's probably had some game time in the under-21s. He's
Yeah,
not coming back from injury, whereby Dorrington's coming back and Lancashire, they've just come off the treatment table in the
yeah,
last week to 2 weeks, and Mikey Moore's obviously there on merit as well, but I think he'll get game time tomorrow.
yeah,
Casanova, who knows? Deji reckons we're going to win 3-0, and like I said, if we are winning the game comfortably, then you can empty your bench with youngsters
yeah,
and give them minutes and that. But if you're struggling to put a team away, then you empty your bench with
yeah, 100%.
what
Let's give
Steve.
them time to cook. You got to
Yeah,
give them time to cook. They need the time, and then if we're struggling like we did against Cov, you bring them on. But Postecoglou is mindful of the fact they need to rest. And for me, Europa League, a good run in the cup competitions, it's time for the Mikey Moores to get the minutes under their legs, the Bergvall to get the minutes. I think they're all quality players. I think they all will make statements this season. But the longer we're in these competitions, the more confidence, because football's about confidence. The more they play, the more they get used to the system. Remember, the system is new for Bergvall. He's only just come. He's just joined. Mikey Moore, he's just joined. Do you know what I mean? So it took our players our whole season to get used to the system. That is our starting 11 or 15 or 16 players. Bergvall's not going to come in now and and hit the ground running unless he's a complete genius. Do you know what I mean? So they need the minutes in Europe to bring back that time. That's why I agree with Postecoglou. I would have preferred European football last season than to have 2 weeks off, 10 days off. It was dry. Do you know what I mean? Now we can speed up that kind of adaptation process.
Yeah. Phil Coyes is saying Gray, Romero, Van der Ven, Davis for me. I don't think VDV will be strenched.
Yeah, stretched.
Stretched.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, my fault. Stretched as much as he does against Premier League teams. He will coast the game. VDV isn't a risk if we play him in this game, is what he's saying, and that's fair enough. So that's tomorrow, Sunday. The boys come down to my neck of the woods on Sunday.
Yeah.
So although that's West Sussex, I'm in East Sussex. That's West Sussex.
Yeah.
But they come, so the boys, I'll be able to smell them. They'll only be 33, 34 miles away from where I live. So I'll be able to smell them. So what's happening Sunday? What the team comes back. So what you want tomorrow, Deji? I think you've alluded to already. You want no injuries, is what you said straight away, didn't you?
No injuries.
No injuries. Players to come back with a victory. You don't care if it's 1-0, which is fine. 3 points is 3 points. And then we move on to Brighton. Can I just say that, just going back to someone in the chat earlier, someone was saying about the European competition. You said that it weren't that good and stuff like that. And you said English teams are doing more like Villa.
Yeah.
This season, again, the two top teams in coefficiency will secure 5th place spots in their leagues.
Oh, fair play. Yeah.
And at the moment, right, if we look just at the Champions League, in the top 8 in the Champions League, you have Manchester City, Aston Villa, and Liverpool. Liverpool and Man City are Liverpool and Villa have won both their games.
Yeah.
So you get a certain amount of points for a victory and a certain amount of points for a draw, right? So bearing in mind that England have only got 4 teams in it this year in that one. They've got 4 wins out of Liverpool and Villa, 5 wins and a draw if you include Man City, and it's 6 wins and 2 draws if you include Arsenal.
There you go.
A team like teams from Germany had 5 teams in it this year, and so did Italy. And Germany only have 2 teams that have won both their games, and that's Dortmund and Leverkusen. but they've already got Bayern Munich with 1-1 and lost one. So that's 5 victories
Yeah.
and 1 defeat. But then Stuttgart have only drawn and Leipzig have lost both games. So they've got 5 teams and England have got 4, and the coefficient points already put England ahead of Germany after 2 games.
There you go.
Right. And ahead of the Italians as well, who also have 5 teams, and ahead of the Spanish, who also have 4 teams.
I've been
So
saying it for a while. I've been saying it, and people call me a madman. But you're already seeing it already. We're too strong.
yeah, and in the Europa League, obviously second games will be this week, but we've already got a victory in that,
Yeah.
and Man United got a draw. So we've got 2 teams in Europa, and we've already scored a win and a draw. So there's been no defeat so far for English teams up
There you
until
go.
tonight. And obviously Chelsea enter the fray next week, I believe, in the Europa
Yeah.
Conference. I think it's next week. So at the end of the day, it could be instead of top 4 this week, this season, Deji, it could be
Top
top
5.
5 that gets you it. So there
For
we go.
me,
So
I just said that for me, my aim for Spurs, our aim should be Champions League football. I don't care how we get it. If it means we got to do Europa, win the Europa and finish 8th, I'll even take that, to be honest. Not that I'd be fully happy with 8th, but we just need to be in the Champions League, bringing in the best players, playing in the best competitions. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm jealous of Villa. That should have been Spurs playing Bayern Munich tonight. Do you know what I mean? How fantastic that would that have been at our gaff playing Bayern Munich? Win, lose, or draw. That's what you want to be seeing. Our players against the best players in the world. And that's what. So for me, Champions League is a must for me by the end of the season.
But then also as well, then Deji, with tomorrow night's game, I know that we're talking about the team will make changes and all that, but the one thing that this competition proves, and it's the first time they've done it like this format, the one thing it does prove though is that you want to get in that top 8. You don't want to be playing the extra 2 games
Yeah,
that you get for finishing in between 9th and 24th. So
yeah,
basically, you need to get your shit done nice and early. So with 2 games to go, you can rest everybody in the world because you're going to finish in the top 8, and that's what we need to do. So, it's important that we rotate tomorrow, but it's also important that we pick up the 3 points. So when you
yeah.
said 1-0 would do, you're quite right. 1-0 would do because
I
it's
think
just the 3 points that we need to get.
yeah.
So injuries aside, we win tomorrow, even if it's 1-0. No
Yeah.
injuries. We don't want any further injuries. What happens with Brighton?
So one of the things that I'm excited about this Brighton game is that they play a higher line than us. What the Van Heck is literally left on his own on the inside of the opposition half center line. So look, I think it's going to be a fantastic game of football. But I think Tottenham make amends for last season. When we lost 4-2, we didn't play bad. They just happened to score 4 goals. And we had a lot of players missing. With Solanke on the pitch, hopefully Son is back. As long as we've got our back 4, because we didn't even have our back 4 for that game, I think we slapped these brothers up 3-1. I think they're in for a good cooking. And also because they're going to find it difficult to get the ball off us. The bit that concerns me is how the players deal with Brighton's dark arts, because how they got the draw at Arsenal was they were dirty, dark arts galore. Saka was getting punched in his face, pulled down. They were trying to pull down his shorts, that sort of thing. And I can imagine I can't remember that player, but Brennan Johnson for me last season at Brighton is when he lost his confidence. He was up against Igor at left back, and Igor had him on toast. He was like the Incredible Hulk, and he was like Ant-Man. So for me, if Brennan Johnson can continue his good form and rise to the occasion, we should be lamping Brighton, in my opinion. But we need a win. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 Spurs because we've got the potential to score a lot of goals. That's the thing. We create enough chances, and I think Brighton are there for the taking. I do like what the Van Heck though. I do like him as a defender. Definitely. There's something about him, but I think we've got to be mindful. I think Matoma could cook Poro. That's a concern for me. But whoever's on their right hand side is not getting past Udogi. That one I can tell you is. But I think the high line will suit Spurs because Solanke can come in and then he can thread the wingers. It might even favour Timo Werner, to be honest, because he plays that line and he is very quick. He was very quick against United. But yeah, I see nothing but a Spurs win. It's going to be a tough game. If we win that game, then baby, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. I think we go on a run because Brighton, for me, in our next 4 games, they're the toughest team. I think we've got West Ham after that, Palace, and then Villa, I think. But I rate Brighton highly.
Mm-hmm. So even if Tottenham won on Sunday, then you'd need Chelsea and Aston Villa to lose. You'd need Fulham not to get a win, Newcastle not to get a win, only for Tottenham to get 4th place. So we can't be 4th, even with a victory on Sunday.
No,
Just
we
saying,
can't.
we can't be 4th.
But I looked at the run of games.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, the next 4 games are winnable games. No disrespect
Yeah.
to any of those teams. You know, if we dig deep and we put in the hard work, we could have 12 out of 12. And if we have 12 out of 12, we are guaranteed to be in the top 4. Doesn't matter what anyone else does.
It's interesting that you look that far ahead, Gage, because I know you've done this in the past. So when you do some of your shows, you do the next 4 games or the next 3 games and all that, and you assess them all. And I only go game by game. You're already going 3 or 4 games. You're
no. I like to jump the gun. That's probably part of my problem. But yeah, I looked at the next 4 games. We got West Ham after, yeah. Then we've got Palace. Palace haven't been good this season. Neither have West Ham. That's a winnable game. Brighton is going to be a tough game, but can we do it? Of course we can. Brighton were lucky to beat United. So far, we killed United, and I think we killed Brighton. And to be fair, in the first half against Arsenal pretty much murdered them, to be honest with you. It's just the red card that kind of swung the game. And we play better football than Arsenal. So I'm expecting Tottenham to have full domination in the Lord Kirshon, and they won't know what to do with it. But even better, they play a crazy. If you think our high line is bad, what the Van Heck is left on his own against Solanke, against Brennan Johnson. Unless that manager is going to adapt, which I doubt it, because I don't think Brighton have lost this season. He's going to go with what he's been doing, and I think they get their first defeat. I just want to double check if Brighton have lost the game. But
yeah,
I
they have.
don't
They lost to Chelsea last weekend 4-2.
Oh yeah, they lost to Chelsea.
Yeah, so they
and to
lost
be
last
fair,
weekend.
Chelsea are sourcing. They can get hurt by us. We can hurt them.
That was their first defeat.
Yeah.
Brighton have won 2, drawn 3, lost 1. They've scored 10 and conceded 8.
Yeah.
Brighton haven't won since the first 2 games of the season. They won the first 2 games of the season, then they've drawn the next 3, and then they lost their last outing against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Where our form is drawn 1, we lost 2, and now we're on a 2-game winning streak in the league.
Yeah. I think Tottenham win that, and then I think we can start to take our team serious. I'm already taking us serious based on the last 3 results, but I feel like to cement it, like, I talked about it's clicking or it's clicked.
Yeah.
Beat Brighton, and then you can rest assured it has clicked. Then you look forward to playing your next game. We have the international break, which is annoying because right now we've got the momentum, and then we're going to have this bloody pause. But hopefully, if injuries aside, if our players can come through the international break, which ain't a break because it should be called international working because they're all working for their countries, then mate, we could really slap up Palace, West Ham, and then we've got a tough game against Villa. I expect us to beat Villa as well. So
the good thing though, Des, is after the international break we've got a home game. I can't stress to people enough, right? Home to me, I know we got to win the games away from home, but to me, home is important. Home, we got to make the stadium, we got to make that ground a fortress again, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the home games this season are uber important. I know that we've got to win away games as well, but I think your momentum has to be made at home. And I'm glad that coming back from the international break, we are at home. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Just going by some of the scores. Adrian says Brighton 1, Spurs 2. Daniel says the Brighton game will be tough. Phil Bill was commenting earlier about the European stuff, about winning the Europa League and getting the Champions League. He says, the only problem is, Deji, when we don't capitalise on Champions League football, when we do qualify for it, that's what we need to change. Hopefully, with new investment, Stavely, that
Yeah,
will change.
yeah, hopefully.
Um, Phil Coyes is saying that he reckons it will be 4-2 to Spurs, but it will be end to end, and that Brighton will play into our hands. Good
I,
morning to.
I,
Sorry,
I
go.
don't think we concede. I don't think we're going to concede 2 goals against Brighton. I think our defense is that good. I think we will be pleasantly surprised that we'll minimise their chances. Remember, the teams have been clinical up until now. If Brighton are not clinical, we win, and they weren't that great against Arsenal, to be fair. So, I think we do them, to be honest.
I'm going to say to you, Deji, if you don't know already, right? I love myself a clean sheet, so I
Yeah,
can't give you a prediction because I do my prediction show on a Friday. But clean sheets are never far behind in my predictions. I
yeah,
don't often get them right though. I don't often get them right,
Mate,
but
get a clean sheets in.
I do like the clean sheets.
I actually think our defense is going to be up there this year. I think we're going to be rivaling Arsenal in terms of best defense. Trust me. I think nobody's is this back four we knew had the potential to surpass Danny Rose, Carl Walker, Vertonghen, Alderweireld. That was our fantastic. I think this back four might be on par.
That's a big statement to make because I don't know
It
whether
might be
they're
on
there
par.
yet. I don't know
It
whether
might be on par.
I don't know whether they're there yet, Dej. To be
They're
honest,
not there yet, but I think they've got the potential to
potential
surpass that
maybe,
back
but they're
four.
not. They're not there yet. That
Yeah,
we need to tighten up a bit more for that for me, mate. But there we go.
yeah.
Norman Lamont says from down under says, "Good morning, boys from Oz. Who would you play at left back and left centre back?" We've, I think Deji said. Who did you say left back and left centre back?
I think I said I went with Archie, didn't I? I said I went with
Yeah,
Archie
Archie at left centre back. And who did you go
so
for
that
left
Van de
back?
Ven doesn't play. Yeah,
And who did you
but
go
I
for
think
left back?
What Phil suggested is probably what's going to happen, which is going to really piss me off, really, which is that it will be Romero, Van de Ven, Ben Davis left back, Archie Gray right back, because that seems to be the most balanced in my opinion. That makes more sense.
I just think that with two of the centre backs, two of the defenders playing last week, I think that them two are going to get a rest this week. It's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
Um, Colin Blackshaw says, can't tell with Brighton, damn hard team these days. Daniel Coy says, definitely better as a fan to take it game by game because anything can happen in football in between all them games. And then you've got, who else? We had someone else in there.
Daniel's basically saying I'm rushing. I just want to get in the top four quickly. I look at the table. I know it's early days. I don't like being eighth. I swear to you, I hate it. Once we're top four, I can really speak with chest.
And then Phil Coyes is saying, Deji, I would have kept a clean sheet if I was at home. I just think this game will be a basketball score. Both teams will leave gaps. And it wasn't Deji, Phil. It was me. I'm the one that likes my clean sheet. And I
Yeah,
don't often get a clean sheet, but I always go for a clean sheet if I can with Tottenham. And it don't matter who we're playing. I always
yeah,
say clean sheet. And what I will say as well, Deji, you started talking about Mitoma and blah blah and blah blah. And I call it blah blah. And the reason why I call it blah blah, Dej, is every time that we play a match of football, right? All I hear people, other people, fans, other channels, all I ever hear is, yeah, but so yeah, but they got Brian in Buemo. He's gonna do us. They got Brian and Buemo. Oi, they got Saka and
yeah,
they got Havertz,
yeah,
and they're gonna do a number on us. And then you've got I don't know who else we've played. Oh, Everton set pieces. You watch out, Calvert Lewin and the two centre backs. They'll get
yeah,
some goals and blah blah blah. Leicester, watch out. They got Mavadidi and they got the other player. They got the two wingers. God, they're gonna. I hear this all the time. At the end of the day, Deji, for me, the computer throws up the fixtures at the start of the season. You
yeah,
play 38 games in a running order. The only way that running order changes is there are postponements or there are games that have been cancelled and that for the weather or for people playing in cup competition, and then
yeah,
you know that they get switched around. Otherwise, you know your running order, right? And from knowing your running order, you've got to play these teams twice in the season. Everybody's squads, everybody knows about each other. I get pissed off because I think to myself, come on, people, give some kudos to us.
Yeah,
What have we got? What have we got that can hurt them?
yeah,
Every team is you're gonna have to play every team twice, and everybody's got ballers in their team supposedly.
yeah.
But big up the players that we've got. Don't worry about who they've got. Worry about what we've got and what we're going to give to them. When you play a game of football against your opponents, I always say this as well, so people might be bored. I say, for me, it's not about the opponent. It's about us. What's within our gift? What are we going to do? What are we bringing to the table? What are we bringing to the match? And if we do that, then we invariably should win a game.
100%, 100%, and that's why I said, I look. If you remember the Brighton game last season, we lost 4-2. We had so many players out, and we still managed to. And we were the better team. We could have easily have drawn that game. We were just bloody unlucky. I think if we just play it as we've been playing, domination in the location, people keep overlooking that. It means when you have more ball possession, sometimes it's tactics. More often than not, it means you're a better footballing team. To dominate the teams that we've played, every single team we've played, we've dominated. We will dominate Brighton. But Brighton, what I'm excited to see is a team, we're yet to go against a team that has played a high line. This is going to be the first time. United tried to have a go at us. It wasn't really a high line. Arsenal sat back and parked the bus. Newcastle pretty much parked the bus. Leicester parked the bus. Brentford pretty much parked the bus. So we're going to go up against a team who are going to do completely the opposite, which is going to even, what we've been crying out for is someone to say, come on then, come on, Karate Kid, let's go toe to toe. Do you know what I mean? And I think they're going to get walloped for that fact. And that's why they got walloped against Chelsea, because they tried to go toe to toe with Chelsea. It didn't work. They're going to try it again with Spurs, and they're going to get whopped. I think whoever predicted 4-2, that is a shout. I think, and also because we've done pretty much every game we should have scored 4, maybe apart from the Arsenal game. Every other game we should have got 4, 5, or 6 goals. And so someone is in for a royal hiding, and it could be Brighton, especially because they'll be wounded from the game against Brighton last week. Wounded. This could be the right opportune moment to play them and to really just whack them, good and proper.
Cool. Right. So you've got Captain of Pants says, I don't think Minte has been great this season. Phil Coy says, Deji is a real one, though. Big up to you, my man. Loyal to the club. Come on, you Spurs. Daniel's saying to me, right, you still worry about the opposition stars players, mate. That's what fans do. I don't, Daniel, because I believe that we have tools. We have weaponry as well. And instead of gassing up everybody else and being worried about everybody else, I'm just worried about what we can do. Because if we do something, when we can affect, and it's up to us to affect that game. And I think we've got players that are equally as good, if not better, than some of the opponents that we play against. All these players that we've mentioned, that I've mentioned now, have they come and slapped us up this season? Because for people being worried about this man, that man, that man, and this man, the worry that's all it was. It was worry. It was people having sleepless nights over nothing at all. We haven't been slapped up by any of these players that we thought would give us problems.
Yeah.
And invariably, it's not going to happen. But the opposition, if they're afraid of Tottenham players, then they were right to be afraid, because we are scoring goals now. So they were right to be afraid.
Yeah, I think we're like the 5th highest goal scorers in the league this season. How mad is that? With all the hot noise, we're up there in almost every match. I mean, honestly, it is a joke. But I think for me, get the win against Brighton. You can tell in my voice I am a bit reticent, but get the win against Brighton, and then I will start to feel like, yeah, this squad can really do something this season. And like I said, I'd rather start slow and finish strong than to start well and then to fade off. And I did warn a lot of teams, a lot of shaking of bums, Liverpool fans getting carried away, Arsenal fans getting carried away. Don't just get carried away. You've been warned on this channel. We've warned you. So we'll see.
Norman Lamont says, our defence looks better because we are pressing better all over the field. Correct. That's Ange ball. Solanke is leading the way. And he is. Solanke is leading the press. Ryan says, watch out for my prediction this week, Jose, on Prediction Show on Friday. And Ryan G says it's going to be
domination in the location with lots of penetration.
You got these
Big up,
people.
Ryan G.
You got these people on a string, ain't you? They know all your sayings. You've got them all on a string. Daniel was saying to me, yeah, I was worried about Gabriel at set pieces, and we got done by a Gabriel set piece. Jesse's here. Good evening, Jesse. I hope you're well, darling. I hope you're well. I know you was doing a watch along tonight, but I hope you're well. Phil Coys says, our midfield will overpower them. Kulu to steal the show again for me, although I think he goes under the radar with these performances. Very underrated player. Gimme a ginger from Sweden. Phil, I don't know whether you missed the start of the show, mate, but I said, and Deji wholeheartedly agreed as well, that for me, the player of the season so far, and we're only 6 league games in, but the player for the season for me so far, the glue in the 6 games, and if I'm going to include Coventry, and he came on against Karabag as well. The glue for our season so far has been Kulu. He gets props. He gets props from us because he's been the glue. He has been the player so far for Tottenham this season. So we're in agreement, Phil, both Deji and myself. God, he looks good there. Deji frozen, isn't he?
No. Yeah, I'm in agreement. Yeah, sorry. I was just listening to you go. Yeah, I can't add to it. He has been. I think and that's why, when people say Postecoglou doesn't change, and you know the people that we're talking about, the people who try to rob our victory from us, from United, by saying, was Tottenham that good or United that bad? Honestly, I give up with those people. But Kulusevski being in the number 8 this season is a change. You've asked for change. You said he doesn't change. You said it's high line for life. It's high line, but with adaptation. So acknowledge the adaptation, and be happy with it. We're bloody winning. That's what you want. I don't care if it's a high line, low line, mid line, round line. Yeah, as long as we win. Yeah, that's the whole point of football. Go out there, get the results. And that's why other teams can shake their bum violently. So for me, if we're getting the results, be happy. But what I don't understand is you're getting the results and you still want to moan. That bit I just don't understand.
Right. The last thing I'm going to raise before we end the stream is we've talked about the midfield, Dej, and was it by design, right, or was it stumbled upon? What do you think? Ending up with Kulu and Madders together in the midfield.
It was. He stumbled across it. What happened was we had Richarlison injured and no Solanke, and he had to play Kulusevski in the number 9. And actually, he did that against Man City. That's what happened. We know, and in doing that, and we knew that he was getting found out. So pre-season, Kulusevski had a great run in the number 9, and then we thought, okay, well, let's put him back a bit, because he is struggling out on the wing. It's not working for whatever reason. They've got his number, so he stumbled across it. But that's why I was always saying last season, the first season is always, even this season, test and learn. Test and learn. Because Van der Ven playing left back for the Netherlands was because he played left back last couple of games of the season for Spurs. Or he's a centre back option. He was forced into those changes. And sometimes you're forced into a change before you then realise. Son being out has forced Mikey Moore up the pecking order. That's what happens, So it wasn't by design. It was definitely by mistake. But that's it. And that's how geniuses work. The good thing is that he was open-minded enough to see that could be an option. And now you can't imagine Madders and Kulusevski, if both fit, how can they not start? And now you're looking more confident. Now you're thinking when we go up against City, you want to see Kuli and Madders in the midfield. You want to see them in the centre because if they're in the centre, we've got a good chance of getting a result. Against Liverpool, we've got a good chance of getting a result. So for me, Yeah, it definitely was he stumbled across it, but bloody hell. More stumbles, please. More stumbles, please.
Yeah,
Because if it's gonna lead to positivity and good results for my club, then long may it continue.
yeah, because Madison, obviously, everyone knows that he's got technique. He's silky smooth. He's got technique and stuff like that. And Kulu has got technique and skills as well. But the thing with Kulu is Kulu can ride tackles. Kulu can go into a tackle. Kulu's like a beast. He goes into beast mode when he carries the ball and stuff like that. But would they both work together? Because Madison's not known to be a tackler and stuff like that, but it just has worked. I mean, I remember we first started it with the Everton game this season when we beat Everton 4-0. We started with them two, didn't we?
Yeah,
And when we started with them two in that game, people were saying at the time, okay, yeah, worked really well, looked really good, right? But will it stack up when you play another team?
yeah,
Well, it's stacked up again, and then it's stacked up again, and
yeah,
then it's stacked up again
yeah,
because we've played that formation now 4 times. So it's not the first time we've played it 3 since, and it's stacked up. And for something that we've now got, in all honesty, at the start of the season, you would have said, "No, that'll never work." You would have done,
yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
No,
you
that will
wouldn't
never.
have.
That will never work. But by God, has it worked? It has worked a
It
treat.
has, and also you got to think that last season I was crying out for um Kulusevski to be the option for Madders not being around. So Madders was injured. Cooley went in at number 10, and he looked better in the 10 because that's what happened. He was able to do left and right. And then I was like, well, let them both be fighting for the 10. But then, Postecoglou's realised, actually, I need both of them. And that's been the adaptation. How do I fit both of them? And he fits them both. So instead of having a number 10, we've got 2 8s because Manners was number 10 last season. That's how we
Yeah,
played. Now we've got 2 8s. We don't have a 10 this season. No one's, so that's a change. These are all little changes that has meant that the domination in the location is legitimately a thing. And what we now need is the goals. Because I think if Cooley and Madders start getting goals like this with the domination, then we've really unlocked something special. Because
yeah,
I don't think I look at most people's midfield. People talk about Arsenal's midfield three, but our midfield three is just as good. What Madders, Cooley, Bentancur, or Basuma, that's a good midfield. You know what I mean? We've got arguably it's a top 4 midfield trio easily, up there with Liverpool, up there with City, up there, with Arsenal. So for me, look what they did to Newcastle, made light work of them. Do you know what I mean? We'll play Villa, make light work of them.
yeah.
So yeah, it's something special. We just need the goals now.
Yep, true. Right, what we got before we wrap up? We've got Toxic Headshot says, "Big up, guys."
Bring up.
Ryan G saying, "I've got to go now. Great show, Jose and Deji. Take care. See you on the next one." Thank you very much for being here, Ryan, and for staying with us. Toxic Headshot says, "Van de Ven could play on the wing. Just imagine he does what Bale did."
Mate, 100%. But we need
Yeah,
a Van de Ven at centre back though to do that.
yeah. And then in the hype says, "Kulu can play back to goal, shield the ball, and switch play." Norman Lamont says, "Against Ferencvaros, I think Ange will play Werner, Solanke, and Johnson. We will need speed out wide to get around their low block. VDV needs a rest. Ange may pull a rabbit out of the hat for left back." And Johnny Bethnal Green says, "Just said to my missus, this is Smithy, just said to my missus about him. Why is he on every yid chat? Proper strange, them sweaties." Leave him alone. He's a good lad, Angus. Right, so leave him alone. He's a good lad. He comes in and he chips in, and
Yeah,
he speaks a lot on a lot of Tottenham channels. Whether he watches Arsenal channels and that, I don't know because I don't watch Arsenal channels myself, so I
yeah,
couldn't tell you. But I know that he does appear on Tottenham channels, and we welcome everyone here, as you're fully aware. We welcome
yeah.
everyone from all clubs. As long as people are respectful of each other, we welcome everyone from all clubs. Deji, right, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Where are you gonna be next, and where are you gonna be, and all that, mate?
Yeah, so I'm gonna dart off. I don't know if Spurs King is still on, but I'm gonna probably catch the last 10 minutes of Spurs King right
Okay.
now. And then tomorrow I will be doing yeah, I'll just be prep. I want to do a watch along. I'll see if I get an opportunity to, and then on Friday I'm probably going to do like a little phone in just before the weekend, and yeah, just have good old banter. But no one can tell us nothing. We slapped up United, so yeah, so we're on a high, and so I want to keep that energy up until the weekend as well. Hopefully,
Fantastic. Right, for me, I'm back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock BST. I'm doing a show with a Seagull's point of view. So
nice.
I've got Grant, who you've all met. Grant is one of the members. He's a Brighton supporter, and Grant will be coming on at 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. I'll be doing a show with him to get the viewpoint from a Seagull, from the Brighton point of view. And then on Friday, as you're all aware, I will be doing the prediction show at the normal time of 4 o'clock. I was planning to do a member show on Saturday, but I realised after saying it that I've got to be in London on Saturday morning, probably till about 5 or 6 in the afternoon before I get back. So I'm not sure whether I'll do a member show, and probably I'm not sure about a watch along yet at the weekend. But it's just you got a question before you go. Sorry, Collins just asked a question. Question for you, mate. Do you rate Solomon as we have him now? Sorry, Collins, a Leeds
Big up,
supporter.
Colin. If you're a Leeds fan, big up to you. And yeah, look after our player. I don't think he's what we need at Spurs, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm quite happy that you have him. I don't think he's what we want is an Odebear, Brennan Johnson, someone with real pace who can get down the line and whip the ball in. Manor Solomon, for me, just takes too many touches, hasn't got the speed, hasn't got the strength, in my opinion. So definitely decent for the championship, but not quite what we need if you want to be pushing for top four.
Cool. Well, everybody, thank you very much. And for Deji, all
Big
these
up.
details are on the title and within the description of the stream. So please, if you haven't done so already, go and support Deji. He is a stalwart of the Spurs community. And Deji, thank you very much. And I'm going to end the show with "Come on, you Spurs," in the big Ange I trust.
Come on.
There we go. See you later, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.